Go to hell. Hang on. Hello, welcome to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Tonight is myself and Trevor. One of our links to one of our Twitters is disconnected, but I'm just going to connect it now. Trevor, I'm going to play the music and I'll sort it out afterwards.
Welcome to another podcast by Guns and Yellow Ribbons. This is your Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Enjoy the show.
Trevor, it looks like our Twitter has gone down, and I will sort that out while we talk. Hello, mate.
What's happened to Twitter then?
Twitter's not connected at the minute.
Have we been banned?
Twitter has not gone live for us. I'll sort it out. While
Lord.
you do that, I'll sort mine out. I might need to sort yours out afterwards, but talk to me. What did you do over the weekend? How did you enjoy the game? You were in Manchester, but you couldn't go to the game, mate.
No, I was. I had a family occasion that I had to attend at the weekend, so it was one of those rare occasions that I wasn't able to go. But I wasn't upset. Family comes first. I did watch it on the television. Yeah, watched it on the television. To be honest, I wasn't expecting an Arsenal win, Ferg. I hoped for an Arsenal win. I knew we could win, but I also know, taking previous months' performances into consideration, it was possible that we could struggle. And I thought we struggled, to be honest, mate.
To be honest, I went up there with Lyle and the lads on the train because the trains thankfully got reinstated, but the train journey was a bit of carnage. So there was Ray Nephews and lagers. It was like an early start, and there were some early casualties. Fortunately, I wasn't one of them. But we had a nice day, a nice trip around the Keys, a couple of beers, and we took this nice photo as well. So I'm just trying to sort the other things out. Trevor, while you're listening, if you can click on to open up the StreamYard on the other tab and then go to destinations and just reconnect your one, that might work.
Fergus, you're talking to me.
I know.
Talking to me. What chance have we got on that, eh?
Okay. Let's not worry about it. Just carry on as it is.
I mean, yeah, we're. Can you see me, or have I gone now?
No. I can see you fine. I can see you
was
fine.
On the other tab. Then there's nothing on there. So, who knows?
So we are live on Guns and Yellow Ribbons tab. If you could do what I asked you to do, which you can't, I'll do it when we're off air. Next time it will work for the next show. But hey, listen, that's fine. Third meeting this season of the two teams. I went up there with hope. I thought we could do. I thought we could do the double over them in the league. But I think a bit like when we went to Forest. Now, where did we go to after? It was Forest, wasn't it? After beating City 5-1.
I don't know.
Yes,
More than a week ago, a few days ago. I'm struggling.
It was the Forest game. We went with hope to think like, okay, it's all back on again. But we do know that the problem that we have is we haven't got a striker. And without a striker, unfortunately, we are going to struggle. And I think we have to admit now, without a catastrophic failure by, I'm totally flustered, by Liverpool, we're not. We're second is the best we can do.
Yeah, look, Ferg, we've got to be honest with ourselves, right? We if we win the league, it will be the biggest miracle, right, since Jesus walked on water, right? Come on, we gotta be sensible about it, right? So yeah, keep some hope in the back of your head, but season's not over, is it? You know, The season's not over. We can keep going in the league, keep putting in our good performances, and we can really go on in this Champions League. As I said to you before the show, my friend, I want to be a bit careful because knowing my luck, I'll say let's go to Madrid and we'll get beat 7-0 on Wednesday. But yeah, the season's far from over for us. But being sensible, being looking at everything, we're not going to catch Liverpool. As I say, it would take a major miracle, and I can't see us doing it. And Simon here is right. Okay. Simon is exactly right in what he says there. It has become very much the same old type of performances. We're all right transitioning from defence to midfield. We're all right transitioning midfield, getting the ball forward. But when it comes to making a chance or putting a chance in the net, we're not doing it, right? We're not doing it. We do it every other game. Every few games, we score a couple of goals. Or like Marino has fired a bit, but come on, we know what we're missing, and we've got to put it right, mate.
Yeah, no, I know. Listen, it was Arteta's 200th league game, so it was an important game for him. The lineups didn't change that much. I think the only thing we swapped out was Lewis Skelly because he can't play for us due to the ban that he's got. So we had Raya, Timber, Saliba, Gabriel, Calafiori. And you're on that other one, mate. If you click up at the top where you got the exclamation mark on your X and say reconnect via app, it should allow you to connect, mate.
All right, let's have a look. An exclamation mark
up in the top right-hand corner.
You
see what happens behind the scenes.
And
you can I'm like a very bad swimming swan.
Horrible. Once is enough. I've got to knock that on the head, Ferg. I can't. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't even see an exclamation mark, mate.
Is that where it says end stream? But don't click on end stream because that's what I did before. Do you remember?
Yeah. Oh, I see. What's that, mate?
Yeah. Click on the exclamation mark.
Yeah.
And it says reconnect.
It says reconnect live here.
Go live then. Yeah, go live.
See what happens. Oh, now it's got this. Do your screen on. Oh.
Click on that.
It's saying that. Oh, get out of here! I'm coming back. I'm back.
All right. Okay. Just leave it. Let's leave it.
Now,
yeah. It's got nowhere. So the lineup, Calafiori for Miles Lewis, it was the obvious choice. There wasn't much else we could do, Trevor, is there?
No, we're limited for options, Ferg. Right? We are limited. We've got to be fair to our great football club. With the injuries we've got and with the form of some of the players that we've brought in, he's got very limited options, right? And when he named that side, I thought, yeah, fair enough. That's about the best we can do. And he's done that all season, in fairness to Arteta. He's gone as strong as he could all season. So, yeah, I wasn't worried about the selection. At the moment, it names itself, Ferg,
Keep talking.
Well, oh, God, what are you doing to me tonight, Ferg?
Mate, it's not me, it's StreamYard. So 200th game for Arteta. His record against Manchester United has been very good. Ahead of the game, he had won 7, drawn 1 and lost 2. So you would have got in there with some hope. And bearing in mind what I was trying to get at earlier, the result we'd had out in PSV, and we had more time to recuperate, you would have hoped that we'd go into that game with some hope of putting the ball in the back of the net and winning the game. Because I couldn't see anything from United, because the United side are just dysfunctional, aren't they?
Oh, listen, mate. They are awful, aren't they? They really are awful. And that's what makes the draw harder to take. It really does. And if we had a bit of firepower up front, we win that game easily, comfortably. But they sat back and then they got the lucky free kick. I know you want to talk about the free kick. Was it lucky or was it a good free kick? I think a bit of both, probably, Ferg. But at the end of the day, I don't think a draw. I thought that a draw was about a fair result for two sides that are misfiring for different reasons,
Yeah, to be honest, there's not very much to talk about in the first half, really, to be honest, bar that free kick, as you say. The first half, the only thing I'll say about the first half was Arsenal were very, very dominant, but had no potency. They controlled the game very, very well. Man United looked absolutely abject and awful.
Yeah.
And the other thing, which you may have heard over the TV, was Onana, every time he got the ball, the Arsenal fans, which were very vocal and very loud throughout the game, were just giving him so much stick. It was unreal. The
Why?
guy could. Why? Because every time he kicked the ball out of play. He kicked it to an Arsenal player. He just could not pass. He couldn't land a rocket on the moon. Honestly, the guy was absolutely shocking. I've seen him on TV and thought it was bad, but when you see him in live, which we saw at the Emirates as well, he's an appalling keeper.
Yeah, well, I didn't see it. And he's not the best keeper I've ever seen, but I didn't see it like that. I could just see this comment.
Oh.
Fergus, will you get off my buttons? I've just seen this comment come up from Lawrence Ilsey. If you believe the season isn't over, then give me your phone number because I know a bloke who wants to see you Tower Bridge. Lawrence, listen.
Don't be an idiot.
We're in the.
Don't even give him the time.
We're going through to the next round of the Champions League, right? If you want to tell me the season's over, then you need to give yourself some serious thoughts, mate, to be honest, because as long as we're in that Champions League, it may be a long shot winning it. It may be a 1 in a million shot, but the season ain't over while we're still in it. Far from it.
So at 45 minutes in, just as the stadium announcer said there was 4 minutes, the stroke of halftime, Trossard fouls Garnacho to concede a free kick on the edge of the box. Fernandes takes the score, takes the goal, takes the free kick and scores. Flipping heck, this is a bad one. I'm glad it's not gone out everywhere. But there was the positioning of the wall. What did you make of the positioning of the wall, Trevor?
The wall went where the referee told it to go.
Correct.
I mean, it's been shown on the TV today. The referee took 11 steps, So the issue lays with the referee. What happened? Can he not count to 11 or what? I'm sick of talking about referees this season. We always find a reason to talk about refereeing. I'm done with it. So, but what was really interesting was that when Arsenal got a free kick in the second half in a similar position or a position where Man United had to make a wall, the Man United players played up for about 3 or 4 minutes, that long. They played up for 3 or 4 minutes saying they weren't going back so far. They kept stepping in front of the line that the referee had drawn. And they knew exactly what had gone on. They knew exactly why they'd got their free kick in. And they weren't going to let it happen to them. Unfortunately, if it had been roles reversed, we'd have probably been like that if it had been us in the second half defending a free kick. But we weren't. Listen, Lawrence, I'm not going to get involved in this chat yet. It will come on Friday, probably. If you think there's no way we'll get past either Real Madrid or Atletico, all I'll say is, what's the point of supporting our great club? What's the support? While we're in it, we're in it. When we're out, I'll listen to it all. But while we're in it, we can win it. Right, Ferg. Sorry, you were saying.
Yeah, no. We're getting back to the positioning. As you said, the only reason the positioning was 11.2 yards out is because Anthony Taylor took 11 steps. He can clearly get a yard about right on the steps, so he didn't count his own steps. Asked after the game on Match of the Day, Declan Rice said, "Did you not think it was too far away?" He said, "We did, and we did challenge Anthony," as he said. And they stepped forward a little, but I think they were stopped from stepping forward anymore. And that gave Fernando that extra bit of space to get over the wall. People have criticised David Raya. Maybe there's an argument, but even the discussion again on Match of the Day was more about David Raya's positioning. Was he actually trying to entice Bruno Fernandes to shoot at the left-hand side of the goal? If you're looking at behind this goal here, to the left of the goal.
Agree.
So I think he was trying to entice him to score there. But if the wall was in the right place, he would have had to get up and over sooner. There was some really good tactics done by Zirkzee, where he pushed into Partey and blocked that little gap that you see in there. I think fundamentally, I don't think Raya's position was off myself. It could have been better. I think to pull him up on that, considering how good of a game he had overall, I think it was very, very harsh. And I think it was a good, well taken free kick by a guy who can take a good free kick, but it went totally against the run of game.
Ferg, listen, right. Obviously, I was watching it on the TV. I'm very fortunate in that I can go to almost every game, but I had to watch this on the TV. I had to actually turn the sound off. I couldn't suffer Gary Neville any longer. What on earth a ex-Man United player is doing commentating on a Man United game, I don't know. It doesn't work, but Sky aren't going to change. So I turned it off and I let me 7-year-old grandchild who was with me in the room watching it commentate for me. She made much more sense and she was much more pleasant to listen to. But going back to the free kick, Ferg, if you look as Fernandes runs in, Raya does move to his left again. He moves back to his left slightly. And I honestly thought that his positioning wasn't the problem. I thought the ball went past his hand. I honestly did. I didn't think it was out of his reach. I thought it went above his hand. So, yeah, maybe we could find a way to fault Raya. But at the end of the day, the cards were stacked in Fernandes' favour. The wall was well back. The distance was dead right. And he slid it in. When you look at the quality in the two sides, right, that Man United scoring one goal against the Arsenal shouldn't matter. Shouldn't matter. Because we're much better, but we haven't got someone to put the ball in the net. And that's a great leveler, as we all know, because scoring goals wins games. So, yeah, I wasn't too bold about a goal. And I thought that we could still come back and win it, but it wasn't to be. It wasn't to be, right? And that made me look very closely at. So I'm just drifting a second, folks. Come back to the game in a second. I promise, son. I promise.
Yeah, that's fine.
I looked at social media this morning, which is never a good thing to do after the Arsenal have drawn when they should have prospered, when we know we're a better side. And look, right, I can't understand some fans, right? Be upset, be confused, right? Be loud, be opinionated, right? Everybody is entitled to be opinionated, right? Absolutely everyone. We don't agree with everyone's opinions, but we're all allowed to have one, right? But don't ever don't be an Arsenal fan and say you're embarrassed by our club. I've been an Arsenal fan for over 50 years and I've seen some lows. Trust me, I've seen some lows. But I've never been embarrassed. I felt down. I felt upset. I felt we could have done better. But I always walk around with my head held high, Ferg. I'm never embarrassed. Don't be embarrassed by supporting our great club. And finally, listen, right, when you express these opinions, and I'm talking to everybody here, right? People might hate me for it, right? Don't start telling fans what they can and can't do. We never do that on this show, right? Anyone with an ounce of common sense shouldn't do it. Don't tell me what songs I can sing, whether I can shout or scream, whether I can dance, whether I'm wrong to go to a game, whether I shouldn't back the manager or not. Don't tell me that's what we can or can't do, because then you're going over the top, right? And then you're going to get some crap back and you deserve it. Yeah, so be opinionated, but don't go over the top of it. We will never do that, you know. So anyway, if you want to read now, get back to the game.
If you want to read, a good article, go to Lathe29 on X and read Lathe's four key points about what we learned from the Man United game. And one of the things he did talk about was some of these people on Twitter who just like pipe out crap, and they're more interested in piping out crap and getting clicks and follows than they are about supporting their football team, and it really winds me up a lot. So I try not to get too involved in it. Look, the second half was a much different game. Man United came out a bit cautious for the first 10 minutes or so, but then, as we said when we're talking prior to this, they turned the screw a little bit, didn't they?
It was a strange sort of second half, especially the start to it, Ferg. I don't think I've ever seen a Man United team come out and go that defensive at home. It just goes to show you the the lack of belief they've got in the abilities of their players. They're 1-0 up and they've come straight into the low block, right? But if you look at it from the other angle, they've done their own work on Arsenal, and they know that the Arsenal have virtually scored 0 goals against the low block this season. So they've gone 1-0 up and they've sat into a low block. And what really shocked me was they sort of lulled us into playing against the low block and we're moving the ball around but not really getting anywhere. Suddenly they turn it completely the other way around and start coming at us. And if we're honest with ourselves, we're lucky not to concede a second goal, aren't we?
Second, third, and fourth, maybe, because David Raya kept us in the game. The 54 minutes in, Mazurai, I think is that you pronounce his name, Rice made a great tackle, which Raya made a great save following on from. Then we made some subs not long after that. Wanyeri went off and Calafiori went off. We brought Miles Lewis-Skelly on. Could we? I thought he couldn't play. I must be in one match ban then. And then Martinelli. Wanyeri did look a little bit tired. Did you think when he came off, Trev?
Wanyeri's not 18 yet. He's had to play so much football recently, I think, as Arteta alluded to previously. He's playing much more football than they would like him to play. And yeah, I thought he looked a bit jaded. He just didn't quite look 100%. But I've no doubt the young lad give his best. I had the pleasure of watching all the players walk by me on the way back from Eindhoven. And
you never mentioned that, Clang.
me being me, I didn't just keep quiet and look at them. I had like 2 seconds worth of words with them. And Ethan Wanyeri and Miles Lewis-Skelly walked by together, and I just said,
Helen, dream come true.
No, I didn't. If you cut me off again, you're doing this podcast on your own. All right? I'm done with you, Fergus. I'm done with you. I just said to them, boys, keep doing what you're doing. And they both looked at me and went, thank you. Quickly, all happened in a blink of an eye. But I thought, well, these boys, they've even got time to just listen to an old fella like me who knows nothing about football at that level. I've got no worries about Nwaneri and Skelly. I just feel a bit for them that they've had to play so much football because we got no one else to put in there.
Dan and I were talking, and Lyle and the guys were talking, and we're talking about exactly that when you saw the
Helen dream come true.
Yeah, there we go. Exactly that. That's been going through my mind all night, mate.
Doesn't it annoy you? Doesn't it annoy you when you're waffling away and someone cuts you off?
No. It's absolutely fine. I'm used to it. I've been hanging around you for years, haven't I? But they were talking about the players, and they said in particular Wanyeri was the one that made the most time to stop with absolutely everyone along that line and take a photograph and say hello and everything else. So I think it's great for them. He held himself up really well.
I took a selfie of Wanyeri and me, right? And I didn't lean in quick enough. And it's just the side of my face, and there's Wanyeri, and it looks like Dan. He's standing right next to him, right? And Dan nicked the photo, cropped me out of it, and put it on his social media.
Well, that's just typical Dan, isn't it? That's just typical Dan. So Martinelli came on, and he made an immediate impact, really, didn't he? You could see. I didn't think he was going to be starting yet, and I think it was a bit of a risk that had to be taken to bring him and see if we can get him on, because fundamentally we need him in for whichever one of the Madrids. God forbid we don't mess it up totally on Wednesday, but we do need him fit and ready for one of the Madrids that we're going to face in the quarterfinals, don't we? What did you think of his performance?
Ferg, I'm not bothered because it's obvious, we can't beat any of the Madrid side. We've got no chance. The fact that we're still in the competition doesn't count. But of course, you had to bring Martinelli on, and Martinelli absolutely made an immediate impact with his energy and his moving. But he's not a prolific finisher, is he? He's going to make chances more than finish them, And I just felt that we got the goal from Declan, and to be honest, I was quite happy when we scored and thought I'll take the 1-1 because this is an interesting point, Ferg. Not one I necessarily 100% agree with, but a lot of the pundits and the people that like to get stuck into Arsenal on the TV and on the radio have been saying that we need to be more worried now about the people coming up behind us for the top 4 than we do about catching Liverpool. And as much as it hurts, right? As much as it hurts, it's a fair enough point to make, you know?
It
It's
is.
a fair enough point to make because we're not picking up wins. But I'm not worried about finishing in the top 4 because we're going to win the Champions League and qualify for it that way anyway, Ferg. So, but making a point about where we're finishing, we do just need to keep an eye on what's happening behind us. It's a fair enough point to make, mate.
Yeah, I just looked at the table. Like, you know, we're 4 points ahead of Forest, and if you look at the 5th place, which should be Champions League, we're 7 points from there. I don't have a problem with us finishing outside second. Second would be, you know. We might shut up some of those fans singing second again, ole, ole. But listen, unless you finish first, it doesn't matter where you finish. As like, you know, Champions League, there is an element of prize money and you know and so on, but it's first or wherever the Champions League winning places are.
That second again, ole, ole, really does make me smile, because apart from Liverpool and Man City, all them clubs that are singing second,
They'd love it.
They'd love to finish second.
Yeah,
They'd give their right arm to finish second. They'd pray. They go to bed at night and pray. Can we get right up there? Maybe finish second in the league. So let them sing it. It makes me laugh, if I'm honest. It makes me properly laugh. And let them get on with it. Too long in the tooth to let that bother me, mate.
And another Hale End Academy player that featured came on at half time for Manchester United, Aidan Heaven. There was some talk about whether we should have had a penalty or not for his handball. Here's the image of the handball touching. It touches both his arms. I got the video. I'm going to play a brief bit of the video in a second when you can talk it through. It's only a brief bit, mate, because we won't get nicked for that then. What were your thoughts on? I thought he, as a player, he looked very accomplished, which we saw him play for us in the preseason tour. He looked very accomplished. He didn't look at a place in United. But what did you think about the shout for a penalty? In your view, looking at this, and we'll watch it again now, is this a penalty? So the ball comes over the top. It touches his left arm. It touches his right arm. He type of cradles it across his body. And what you see after that clip is he does look at the referee, and I think he thinks he's going to get called.
Look, firstly, Heaven, he's gone from Arsenal. So
yep,
talking about him doesn't even cross my mind. He's not an Arsenal player. So he's off, gone. You know, was it a penalty? It actually went from his head onto his arm, Ferg, on the telly.
Okay.
Come off his head onto his arm. And that was the reason they said that VAR had said, they reviewed it and said they weren't giving it because it was head.
Came off his own body. Yeah.
Yeah. And, mate, we've seen them given. We've seen them not given. We know that they make the rules up every week to suit whatever they want to suit. So, yeah, I didn't even get het up about it, to be honest.
You know what the annoying thing... what the annoying thing about that is, if that was a striker at the opposite end and it came off his head and hit his arm, it would have been given as a free kick the other way. It's just because he's a defender. The rule is absolutely ridiculous. That is different. It's a different rule for different players in different positions. It should be the same rule regardless. Rice equalised. You mentioned it already from outside the box. Timber, a great assist. A great assist by Timber. Timber had a really good game, don't you think?
I think that Timber felt he had to give the ball to Rice. The way Rice was demanding it in that moment, I think if Timber hadn't given him the ball, they'd probably ended up having a punch up. Rice demanded the ball, and the finish was absolutely sublime. Absolutely sublime. But that's the kind of goal that goes in like he scored at West Ham last season. You know, when you're 4 or 5-0 up, you bang one in from distance. I can remember Xhaka doing it at Hull in the FA Cup a few years ago. We'd only just signed Xhaka with 2 or 3-0 up, and bang, he slots one in from distance. They're wonderful goals to watch, but they're not the type of goals that are going to win you game after game after game after game. And that's what we're lacking. So as much as I love Declan Rice's goal, and long may he continue to do that, By the way, I thought he was superb all game. Absolutely superb.
Agreed.
Them goals are not going to win us anything. They're the goals that put icing on cakes, or occasionally get you a win. The bread and butter is what your centre forward scores and does. I've learned that this season, by the way, because at the start of this season, I had a completely different opinion, Ferg. But as this season's gone on, I've realised that I was wrong and we need a striker. And it'll be an interesting summer.
Following that goal by Rice, Arteta decided to make a tactical change because Rice had been playing quite forward, almost. Well, you had Marino playing as a type of centre forward. Rice was playing almost like a number 10, number 8. They was very, very attack minded. But that was all fine because we had Partey at the back. We took Partey off, dropped Rice back to take over that position, and brought on Tierney. And Tierney was then pushed up as an attacking winger. Clever tactics. It nearly came off as well.
For me, yeah. I'll tell you for why. Because firstly, Sky Sports should be ashamed of themselves because all they did after Tierney come on and before was keep putting the camera on the poor boy Sterling who sat on the bench, obviously devoid of any confidence, obviously really struggling. I wouldn't be surprised if it's not affecting the lad mentally because he's really having a difficult time. And Sky Sports just decided they were going to pummel him. Just keep putting the camera on him, putting the camera on. Now, he wouldn't have known that at the time. But today, if he watches the game back, he's going to see that. And that's a horrible thing to do. All right, mention the fact that Tierney's come on before Sterling, but leave the lad alone. Have a bit of common sense and realise that he's really struggling. And when you take all that into consideration and you look at the minutes Tierney has had in recent games and the minutes Sterling's had in recent games, Tierney has produced more. He's got the ball into the box more and he's run forward more. So, yeah, I had absolutely no problem with Tierney coming on in front of Sterling. But I do feel for Sterling and some people should be embarrassed.
That type of answers the question I was going to put to you about Sterling, so I'll try and rephrase it. Like you've tried to position it as sort of how Sterling must be feeling, that his head must be a shed and is devoid of confidence. But how do you think that for a manager who got the best out of Man City, it must be really hard for Arteta for his project that he thought he could rejuvenate Sterling's career and maybe then have a word and bring him. He could be like, it could have. For me, it was a no-brainer of where we didn't want to spend the money and we ended up getting him on such a good deal from Chelsea. And with Arteta's history with him, it actually made a bit of sense. And he could cover sack and everything else. It must get to Arteta, and it's just to pick anybody but Sterling is what Arteta's thinking at the minute.
Look, right.
That's my view. That's my view, by the way.
Yeah, I agree. I've got to be careful here because I don't want to become a hypocrite and start doing what Sky were doing to Sterling, right? So I'm going to try and keep it brief. But
it's a chat down the pub. That's what we always do.
Yeah,
we do flip around.
Exactly. Yeah. Chelsea wouldn't have let Sterling go if they saw he still had much left in him, as has been proven by previous signings from Chelsea. We get more rubbish than we do people that complain. I'm not saying Sterling's rubbish, right? But I said it when we signed him at the very end of the transfer window. This reeks of an old Wenger panic signing. Wenger used to do it regularly, go through the transfer window and right at the last minute sign someone who wasn't very good and didn't really improve us in any way. And the Sterling signing reeks of that for me. But I think what happened yesterday showed that we have a very, very strong manager. A manager that he's still learning, is in his 5th year, but he's in his first job. But it showed we have a strong manager because it took in the word of Troy Deeney, it took kahunas to stick a defender on in front of an attacker at Man United yesterday. But he did it. Arteta did it, and he has my backing all the way for that. Because as I said right at the start of this conversation, going on recent form, he was going to get more out of Tierney than he was out of Sterling. And trust me, right? And I've said it before, and I'm on record, and I've told it to you and the lads in personal conversations, Ferg. I'm desperate for Sterling to play well and score goals and start performing. Desperate for the lad. I want nothing more at the moment than for Sterling to come on, hit form and start scoring. But do I think it'll happen? I don't think so. I think he might have gone in here, mate.
No, I said to you ahead of the West Ham game that we're going to do them. It might have been a West Ham game. It was going to be 3-1 Arsenal, and Sterling was going to get a brace because I just felt like one day it will click. But those days and those minutes are running out for him. The decision to move Rice back into a more defensive role to replace Partey clearly paid off. 84 minutes in, there was several opportunities. Man United, again, whilst I say they were very poor, they did turn the screw a little bit more on us, and we managed the game quite well. But it was in defence where Rice came in and that huge tackle on Højlund. We're talking about Sterling without any confidence. There's another player who's got no confidence, but can't take away from Rice. That was an outstanding interception.
Rice, that was the icing on the cake for me with Rice, more so than his goal, because Rice had worked his socks off in that team. And watching the performances of Rice and Partey, even at this stage of the season, right, when they've both put in a lot of hours playing this season, is what gives me hope for what's coming still, right? Because we're in a really critical phase, in my view, at the Arsenal, right, Ferg? We've come from being eighth, whatever it was, to be second the season before second last season. This season, if we're honest with ourselves, we've dropped off a little bit, right? We're not performing quite to the levels we were last season. And us as fans, we all put it across in different ways, can see where the issue lies, right? And this is where, when the summer comes, Mr. Andrea Berta, who's just joined us, and Mr. Arteta are going to show their worth, hopefully. They're going to show their worth this summer, and they're going to go out and get us what we need. And we all know what we need, right? But going back to Rice, absolutely agree with Heath Keogh. Man of the match for me. Just nicked it from Raya. But against that Man United side, we shouldn't be relying on Raya like we did.
No, actually, that's a good point. For me, I was struggling to see who man of the match was, whether it's going to be Rice or was it going to be Raya, because, what we're 84 minutes or 90 minutes in, two massive saves, including this one, where he got back up and cleared that off the line. That was a double save. And, Raya, we say it again and again, the guy is an ultimate, probably one of the best keepers. Talk about Alisson, you talk about other keepers, but he's got to be up there and probably the top 1, 2, 3 keepers in the Premier League and possibly in Europe.
Yeah. Oh, undoubtedly. And it's a really interesting point here that Arnie makes, right? And the reason it's just jogged my memory. I've got a note here and I've missed it, Ferg. I had to watch the game on TV on yesterday, and I watched the build up. And in the morning, I stuck the telly on, and there was that chief reporter for Sky, Reddy. Is it Melissa Reddy? And I didn't really listen to a lot of what she said. She's never done anything to upset me before, so I'm not calling her out as a person, right? But I'm calling out these Sky presenters as a whole who make these statements just off the top of their head. They clearly haven't done any research or given them any thought. Because she said Arsenal, that people might say Arsenal have bottled it this season like they did last season. That was the words coming from a Sky reporter. Arsenal haven't bottled it this season like they did last season. Last season they bottled it. Well, just to put, I was desperate. I wish I could have somehow spoken to her and said, "Look at the results after we came back from Dubai. Last 10 games of the season last season, we absolutely flew. We did everything we could as a football club to put pressure on the leaders, but unfortunately, we came up against a team in Man City that were playing better than us, not better than us, but were winning games as many as we were, and we just couldn't quite nick it back, right?" Now, if that's bottling the league, Sky Sports reporter, I'll be happy if we bottle it nearly every season. But once in a blue moon, we go that step further. Bottling it. I'm fuming.
Trevor, you know what the thing that people don't realize, there's only one team that can win the league. There's 20 teams in the league. Okay, there's probably 4 or 5 that can probably win the league. And if you're looking over this year, Man City, okay, at this moment in time can't win the league. But in theory, when you look at it at the start of the season, you're looking at Man City, Liverpool, Arsenal, and maybe Chelsea. So there's 4 solid teams that can probably win that league. And only one can win it, and then cups are cups. The Champions League is the Champions League. The Champions League is seeded. So this new format seems to be shaking it up a little bit. And you know what? It's shaking it up enough that there's some interesting round of 16 ties. And there could be some interesting quarterfinals, semi-finals. And it's not just all seems to be skewed towards the Barcelonas, Real Madrids, and so on. It does seem to give it a bit of free for all. So just to finish up, we'll go into Europe in a second. To finish up on the Man United game, man of the match, you're going for Rice, are you?
Oh yeah, I thought that Rice just beat Raya to it once again. Another superb performance as well from Thomas Partey. I was absolutely flabbergasted when he took him off. Absolutely flabbergasted. I can only think he's saving him. Partey's fitness has been much better this season, hasn't it, Ferg?
It has, and his whole demeanor, his whole attitude has been much better. I don't know if that's because he knows, you know what, I'm in the final season, I'm in a position of power that I can go somewhere else and get another 2-3 years, or I can stay in. If I hang out long enough, they will give me the money I want to stay. So he has got the cards in his hands at the moment, and by playing so well this season, Arteta and Cole might be looking on, you know what, Jorginho will go. I'm sure of Jorginho going.
I think he's already signed a contract, hasn't he?
I think I'm sure I've seen somewhere about it. I can't remember offhand, but yeah, I think you might be right, mate. But Jorginho could go. Zubimendi coming in, and then if you had Partey as well, that's a great transition to leave Partey in, Zubimendi, and then get a replacement for Partey there afterwards. It would be ideal. It gives you the depth that you need in that position. I do.
Absolutely. Sorry, go on.
Yeah, no, I do hope he does that, and I think that's basically what you were saying. Partey was good for me. Rice was the man of the match because he played so versatile all over the place. He's not the prettiest football to look at in some of the stuff he does, and definitely he's not really the best attacking footballer. Watching the clips on Match of the Day, because again, watching the game live after loads of drink is one thing, but watching the game briefly on Match of the Day, you see him trying to take balls down. He can't do it. He's a midfielder, defensive player, but he's so good when he comes into those defensive moves with the tackle that we talked about earlier. He could pick a spot of dust off a toothpick. That guy could, and not commit a foul generally. So no, I was pleased. But Ray has been outstanding. But man of the match goes to Rice for me. Next up, we've got PSV on Wednesday night. And then we got Chelsea, and then it's 2 or 3 weeks off. 2 weeks off, I think it is. Fulham on the 1st of April, so a couple of weeks. And you know what? I could do with a couple of weeks off. I think just to readjust.
I just want this Wednesday game out of the way, Ferg. I just want it gone. We've won over there 7-1, and it was one of the greatest European away trips in a long
historic.
Right, both as a player, both as players, as a club, and as fans, right? It was very much helped. We spoke about this, I know, but I will recap. I'm sorry, Ferg. It was very much helped by the fact that the carnival was on in Eindhoven, which is basically another excuse for an enormous drink up. There's a few bands about.
We didn't see any of that.
Yes. You what, mate?
We didn't see any of that at all last week.
It was interesting, to say the least. And it was a very jovial, friendly atmosphere. I never saw hardly any policemen. There was Arsenal fans in town. There was thousands and thousands of Dutch people, and the whole atmosphere was wonderful. And you have to say well done to our fans for that, and you have to say well done to the Dutch people.
I'm going to cut across you briefly. I spoke with Dan because you said to me on the phone, best away trip ever, even beating Porto. And I asked Dan, did it? And he went, yeah, I'm sorry, it did. It was that good. I'm just trying to reiterate how good of an atmosphere it was there, Trev.
It was a wonderful trip from the very start, from the fact that I got my flights for £36 return, right? Because I took a massive chance 2 weeks before and thought, right, them flights are 36 quid to Eindhoven, I'm booking them, right? And they obviously went up to well over 500 as soon as it was known we were playing in Eindhoven. So from that moment, I had that bit of luck to right through the trip, the football, the people, the beer. So when I got back and landed at Stansted, I had 15 minutes to get my train home. And I thought, no chance as I got off the plane. And I went straight down there. Passports was clear, straight through passports, straight onto the station, sat on my train. So from start to finish, it was wonderful. Brings a smile to my face. And you can't forget the great Arsenal company as well. What a group of fans we have going away,
eh? So PSV, you would like to think, at 7-1 that the job is done. But I expect PSV are capable of scoring lots of goals, Trevor. They scored 3s and 4s against all the oppositions at home, except for us in the Champions League leading up to that game. So they will come out at us and they will try and get an early goal and then put us under a bit of pressure. And the key with Arsenal currently at the minute is if we get the first goal, then teams have to come out at us and we can then pick them off. But if they sit with that low block,
folk, they'll come at us anyway. They're going to
come. Which will score another 4 then.
And I would hope that we have the quality of players that are going to make the most of the space they're going to leave behind. Wouldn't surprise me if we don't score 3 or 4 ourselves, mate. You know, so yeah, I just want to get it over with. And a funny thing this week, right? I put something on social media about a historic night beating Eindhoven that their ground 7-1. And as they always do recently, and you can't blame them because they're winning the league by a country mile, but they always seem to chip in with a comment. A Liverpool fan commented underneath the post. You was only playing a pub side. Hang on a minute, that pub side beat you at their place in the Champions League a few weeks ago, you know. So yeah, but it's all bad.
And they beat Juventus.
Yeah. Indeed, we've got to take it off the Liverpool fans though, as much as they gnaws me off.
I don't think they're genuine. You know, I don't know if they're genuine Liverpool fans. They might be like these Arsenal fans that we get round on social media, because that seems to be the cesspit of Twitter that it is. Because I speak to Liverpool fans, and I've got some really good friends through work who are hardcore Liverpool fans. And I openly said to them, I said, I love the Scouse people. I said, I love Liverpool. It's a better city than Manchester, in my view, personally. I just really, really enjoy going to Liverpool. And I love all my Liverpool friends, but I cannot bloody stand the Scousers and Liverpool. But they aren't like these idiots you have engaging with you on Twitter. Honestly, they're nothing like that.
It's an easy one. You can easily tell. The ones that are proper fans and are decent and have got nothing to hide normally have a profile picture on their social media. Yeah. You know, the others will have like, you know, whatever.
I'll tell you a good barometer, and it's nothing to do with red and blue, but you look at the amount of Everton fans that we've engaged with because of our association with Kevin Campbell and the Kevin Campbell flag that's gone on the European tour, and just like us having Kevin on here and us joining him on the Highbury squad and so on when he was around. It's completely different narrative. They don't have the worldwide coverage of fans right around the world, so you get a different narrative, don't you?
Yeah, just looking at, I do like some of Simon's comments, you know, it does make me laugh, right? Does make me laugh. I take it you're not keen then, Simon, to say the least.
Simon, I like Liverpool. He says it's a dreadful place. I think I like it. I like Matthew Street. There's loads. And
Look,
you've
can
got
we stop talking about Liverpool now? Can we stop?
Go on.
Stop, folks.
Yeah,
Stop.
go on,
Stop.
go on.
Take a sip of your Guinness, right? And
It's
let's forget about it, because we're all. Trust me, when we win the league again, right, I'm going to be absolutely unbearable, right? You're going to see more of my stomach than you have ever seen in your life, because I will be dancing in the streets for weeks and weeks and weeks after when we win the league, because it's going to happen soon. Have every faith, as I said right at the start of the show, have opinions. We all have opinions, but some of us have faith, and I have faith, right? And I make no apology for that. But yeah, we will. We'll be all right. We'll be unbearable when we win it, Ferg. But anyway, what's your score prediction? PSV, mate.
PSV, it's going to be either something stupid like a 0-0 and a really dead rubber, because the atmosphere in the stadium is going to be really strange. Or, you know what, as you were speaking, and I was saying they're going to have to come in and try and score, they're going to be so open. I would love that we get at least 5 against them, and then it's like 11-1. So we outdo the 8-2 that we had against Munich on aggregate. I just want a historic
10-2, Ferg. 10-2.
10-2. Yeah. There was an 8-2. Yeah. So I'm trying to outdo that and have the biggest aggregate score. That's what I'd like. And yeah, for that. Chelsea, what's your thoughts on the score? Sorry, before
I'm glad you mentioned that Bayern Munich tie. We lost 5-1 at home and we lost 5-1 away. And that is exactly what I was saying earlier. For some reason, it's just the person I am, I suppose. I wasn't embarrassed about that result. I had some anger in me. I could see where we'd gone wrong. I had an idea in my head where we needed to go, and I couldn't see us going in the direction we needed to go at that time. But I wasn't embarrassed. I will always, I do it all the time. If we've had a loss or a bad loss, the following day, I put on an Arsenal top and I'm out there. And I take all the banter, because at the end of the day, I'm proud to wear this badge, proud of what we do, right? I'll never, ever be embarrassed by my great club. Use any other word and I'll say, yeah, I accept that. I'm not embarrassed. I won't be embarrassed. I think, Ferg, right, against PSV, we're going to lose 6-0. No, 5-0. We're going to lose 5-0. And we're going to go through by the odd goal. No, of course I don't. I think the PSV are going to come at us, and I think we'll probably win it 2 or 3-1.
Yeah. I think they might get a goal because they will try that hard. But I think if we get the first goal, that's it. Just capitulate. But I think at that point, if we got 2, I think we just sit there and toy and play with them. Only because I don't think. Well, I'd like to think that we could just put them to the sword and just go like, here, let's make a statement across Europe.
Yeah.
And that's what I'd really like him to do. But we do have a big game against Chelsea. Or is it a big game against Chelsea? The league's done, as we both have admitted, and reluctantly. But Chelsea's a London derby. It's bragging rights. I know we'll go into it a little bit more detail on Friday. But just briefly, what's your thoughts on the Chelsea game? Would you go all out in the PSV game? Do you rotate? Do you
know what, Fergus? Once prior, but who does he rotate against PSV?
Nobody.
Who has he got to rotate?
You got nobody to rotate.
But Chelsea is very similar to how I felt before the Man United game, Ferg. I know that on our day we'll beat Chelsea. I know that we're good enough to beat Chelsea.
Yeah.
We've still got that final wheel in the mechanism missing. And on days, it haunts us, like it did against Man United. It haunted us, right?
Do you test
Forest? It haunted us.
Do you test some things? Do you try the young players to see, if we can get somebody who can fire? Because we have to be thinking ahead. Okay, Martinelli's coming back. Saka, I don't know if Saka's coming back for the quarterfinals in April.
If he wants to sling a young centre forward in up front, the lad that's been on the bench, what's his name? I do apologise, young man.
There's I think a Kiba or Kibai, and there's Butler Odeji.
I honestly think that it might do more harm than good. especially if they came on and scored a goal or two, much like Eddie Nketiah came on and scored a goal or two in his very first game against Norwich. Do you remember in a cup game at our place?
Yeah.
Came on and scored 2 goals, a very young kid. And we all thought we had the next,
Ian Wright.
Ian Wright, and he wasn't at that level. So I don't know what's best to do, Ferg. I think for me, I will be very happy for the rest of this season if we get enough points to finish second in the league again, right? Okay. We'll get banter off of other fans, but I don't care. Apart from Liverpool, all those other fans will just be jealous. So get enough points in the league to finish second, do what we have to do, and concentrate on this Champions League, right? Because I wish I'd have said it to the players when they walked by me the other day. I thought afterwards, right? This young team we've got, right, have got a chance to do one of the very few things, possibly the only thing that any Arsenal team has ever done before them, right? And that's win the Champions League. They're really in it. So we end up playing Real Madrid. And I know I got a bit shirty with Lawrence earlier, but I respect Lawrence's views. As I said, everybody's got can have their opinion, yeah? But you got to remember that Real Madrid didn't do well in the group stages. They needed the playoff round to go through,
Yep.
So they're beatable. Absolutely, they're beatable. And I want to see us get enough points in the league, as I said, and concentrate on beating Real Madrid. And I want these young players to know, right? These young great players we've got who are not at their best yet, still improving, but they've got a chance to make history because someone's got to win this Champions League this year, right? Someone has got to win it. And why shouldn't it be us, right? You got Chapman made history in the 30s when he won us our first FA Cup and League Championships, right? Bertie Mee made history in the 70s when he won us our first double, right? Okay. Wenger made history when he won us more doubles and he went the season unbeaten, right? George Graham made history when we won at Anfield and then we won the league in 91, only losing one game because of injuries. This is the chance for our club to do something that none of them other heroes have done. And I've got all their pictures on my wall, right? Because they're my heroes. But this team's got an opportunity to be the best, the most remembered. Guaranteed statues outside the Emirates, Ferg, And while they're in it, I ain't hearing any talk about us not winning it. I ain't hearing any talk about us not winning games. I'm an Arsenal fan, right? And I'm going into every game we play full of hope, as long as we don't lose 7-0 to Eindhoven on Wednesday, of course. Sorry,
I do hope our new suspected, well, I know what's going to happen, director of football, Andreas Berta. He was from Atletico Madrid. He Atletico or Real? Atletico Madrid. He was responsible for re-signing Rodri after they released him. Players like Griezmann, who he brought back in again, who had gone through some of their academies. Goalkeeper like Oblak, and we do need a goalkeeper in the summer. We need at least one goalkeeper. And I know he had to work with strong characters and strong people like and Griezmann and Simeone, who's going to be a really, really difficult man to deal with because he's got such power, because he's achieved so much with that club. And I think that's probably the reason why he's no longer there, because eventually people get to a certain level that you need to part ways. But I think he's got some really good contacts. Nico Williams is and Zubimendi, he's got good relationships with. I'm just hoping something can come of this, Trevor. It's I don't know much. I just hear good things.
I don't know the man from Adam. Got no right to form an opinion on his skills or what he's capable of doing. But what I do know is that Arsenal don't recruit rubbish into the upstairs anymore. We did that pre-Arteta, and we had to have a massive clear out. And I'm not referring to Emery there, by the way. Everyone knows that I thought Emery was hard done by. But Emery, actually talking about Emery, the people that Emery had to work with weren't up to standard, in my opinion, and had their fingers in other pies rather than at the Arsenal Football Club. And I'm pretty sure, in my view, that Arsenal learnt their lesson. The Cronkies learnt their lesson, and we won't recruit rubbish in. So let's get him in. Let's give him a chance. And hopefully this summer will be when we sign the people we need to make that final step. And I'm going to keep waffling for a minute, people, because Ferguson just told me privately that he needs to go to the toilet, which probably...
Well, you can waffle on your own. If you want to waffle, you waffle, and we can come back to it. But I've got nothing else on the list, mate. I've got nothing else on the list.
Press the button, and when it's done, if you're not back, I will waffle.
Okay, let's just leave you that way, and I'll press the button.
There you go. He's not back yet, obviously, so he was obviously bursting. But it's been difficult tonight because we've not gone out on Twitter. I don't know what's gone on there, but I know Ferg will be able to put that right. But I've enjoyed this chat, Ferg. I love chatting, and it's easy to chat when you've had a 7-1 win. Please, I'm never telling people what to do as fans is awful behaviour, and you need to get pulled up for it. But I'm just asking, please believe in our players. We're in it, and when you look at where we could end up, we're capable on our day of beating any of those sides. Difficult, possibly unlikely, but very, very, very possible. We are right in it, and we carry the players, right? Just before I am back to Ferg to see us out, right? We occasionally have guests on this show. Not very often, but because we'll never, ever sell our soul. We'll never have a guest on here for clicks. We have guests on here because they improve what we talk about. And what we talk about is the Arsenal. Ferg, I'm done with it.
Alan Smith, Laith, who does the Gooner fanzine.
Yeah.
Andy, Mark, Arsenal historians, Super Kevin Campbell.
Yeah.
They're are probably top 5, but also we've had Harry Symeou, we've had several other people on Arsenal fans, and not to stop at the list of Dale, Dan, Alex, Andrew, Lyle, Albert, Sophie, and some of the others as well that have been on there. Over the years, we like to talk about Arsenal. We got 18 people watching. This is not what we normally have. We normally have nearly 300 or 400 people watching. It's only because the Twitter link has gone down. But what we do, what I will say on that is, thank you very much for the people who have subscribed to Twitter, because you wouldn't see us otherwise. So really appreciate you for that. I need to train my bladder to last for like 55 minutes. 100 minutes, don't I? It's only in the evening as well. It's really strange. I can sit in the car all day, no problem.
Ferg, much as we're not having people on here that won't talk about the Arsenal, we're not spending any time talking about the weaknesses of your bladder, my friend. That's beyond me. That's beyond me. Look, Ferg, we've got so much to look forward to. Let's hope we get through Wednesday. No injuries. Lovely,
Trevor,
lovely.
You know what's going to happen? We're going to Munich. We're on our way.
Yeah.
We're going to Munich. You know why we're going to Munich? Because I will be in Germany. I know you've booked Germany, but I am 100% going to be in Germany from Thursday right through till Monday. I am in Germany. I don't care. I'm there 5 hours away from Munich, and I can't see the game. So it's just going to be difficult.
If we do get there, I will send you pictures, lots of pictures.
I know you will. I know you will.
I know you will. And I'm is the king.
Is the king of Brazil.
Ferg, I've really enjoyed this chat tonight. For the few people that have been able to watch us, thank you very much for listening to this waffle. And all I will say is that when you look at this show, when you listen to this show, however you listen to it or watch it, you're going to get to see any of the Arsenal, because we don't talk about anything else. Even when we're not here, me and Ferg speak on the phone most days, and we never say, how are you? What you doing? It's, what you reckon about the Arsenal this, the Arsenal that, the Arsenal this?
It is true.
This gives me such a hard time about it. But that's what we do. It beats in here, and it's written all over here. And I'm going to get myself a nice tan before May. Is it May the 31st, Ferg?
May the 31st, yes.
Because I'm going to be looking all brown and hunky when this shirt comes off, and I don't put it back on all summer.
The wedding reception starts at 4:30 in the evening.
Yeah. Oh, Ferg, listen. I've just noticed someone in here now. Right? No names, right? This is really important, by the way. No names. But I've been speaking to someone privately on social media today, and they know that.
Sorry. Shit, Jesus. Sorry, go on.
I've been speaking to someone on social media today, right? And they know that I spoke for me, I know you as well, Ferg, are always here if you're having a hard time, right? And I want that person to know that there's always an ear. There's always a listen available here. No names. You don't name people. You just offer your help. But what I'm saying is that goes out to everybody, Ferg. People we don't know. If you've got problems, come and give us a shout.
Yeah, totally, truly. Shout out to anybody. We're a family. We're the Arsenal family. And just to finish up on that, just on a little bit of a serious note, I bumped into, was it Jacob, who the poor lad who took his own life after the Leicester game, bumped into all his friends, the Ashburton Army, and that, and we just talked to them, and they said, you know, they had tried everything, but sometimes some people are, you know, but there were a good community around him, and they're just devastated, and it's just horrible to see those people afterwards feel so devastated. So just, you know, just try and reach out and listen to them. So I don't know what to say anymore.
Well,
listen,
it sounds really hard, Fergie. It sounds really harsh, right? But it is a permanent solution to what is always a temporary problem.
Yeah.
No matter how hard that problem may be, it's temporary. It can be fixed. Talk to people. Talk to people. Love you all.
On that note, up the Arsenal. Love to all our Arsenal fans. I'm going to press this button. The other time was a mistake. I'm really sorry. Up the Arsenal.
All right, folks. We had to. I had to say that while
No.
I don't like finishing on a really serious note like that, but that had to be done tonight, and people know we love them, don't they?
Yeah, and also we had to do that because we were such a disaster of a start. We had to try and
I don't know what's happening with Twitter.
We'll sort it in a minute. I'll leave it with me, and we'll do it. Stay online, and we'll do it.
Bye,
Up the Arsenal, fuck the Spurs. You have been watching Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. I've got no voice left.
Thanks for listening to Guns and Yellow Ribbons, an Arsenal podcast by Arsenal fans for Arsenal fans. Follow us on Facebook at Guns and Yellow Ribbons or Twitter at Guns and Ribbons. And remember to rate and review us too. Up the Arsenal.